Hey everybody, it's Jordan here with Major Hi-Fi, back again with another review, and today we've got the brand new IO-8 from Dali. It's another wireless luxury headphone, and we're going to get into everything about it with its build, its design, and its sound. But first, if you like what you see from this channel, definitely like and subscribe down below. It helps us make more content just like it in the future, and it'll help you get more videos just like this right into your feed. So the IO-8 from Dali sits right below the IO-12 as a bridge to the top of the line wireless headphone in their product line. It's a really interesting headphone. It has distinct features, a distinct sound, and while we've seen a trend of higher end wireless headphones coming out in the last few years, I think Dali has done something interesting with this headphone to make it stand out from the rest of the pack. So let's break down everything coming right up. Let's start with what's in the box. In the box, you get the travel case, you get the IO-8 wireless noise canceling headphones, a 1.2 meter USB-C cable for charging and USB audio, and a 1.2 meter 3.5 millimeter mini jack stereo cable. The IO-8 represents Dali's commitment and continued commitment towards high quality materials and high quality craftsmanship in their headphones, as well as their speakers. The lightweight headband and premium feeling and generously padded ear cups make this a really comfortable headphone to wear, but also signify the luxury of the headphones. It's not just a high-end sound, but it's a high-end build. One thing I did notice is there is a bit of clamping force on this headphone, but I wouldn't say that it's egregious or uncomfortable, but it is something I noticed. This isn't going to be a light fit. And that helps get more of a seal, and it'll help the quality of the noise canceling and isolation. The use of high quality fabrics and materials will also lend to the longevity of the headphone. So it's not just a pretty looking headphone, but it is a well-built headphone that will last you the years. And if you're paying $900 for headphones, you want it to last a while, and you'll get that with how these headphones are built. So aside from luxury and durability, which this headphone certainly prioritizes, Dali has also prioritized functionality with touch-sensitive playback and volume controls on the right ear cup, but you also get EQ, Bluetooth controls, ANC controls, and all of that jazz all built into the right ear cup. And I think this is interesting because it negates the need for an app. And yep, you don't get an app with this headphone. That's okay though, because they make everything so easy to use. You just, with a click of a button, you can change the EQ mode. With the tap of a finger, you can do playback. You don't need the app. And I think that's really interesting. They've made a sophisticated headphone that also prioritizes simplicity in the build and use case. Now, at the heart of the IO-8 are a couple of 50mm drivers with paper wood fiber cones specifically engineered to ensure clear, natural sound reproduction. The IO-8 also can do 24-bit 96 kilohertz resolution when used with the USB-C cable, so it's kind of a no-brainer in terms of functionality. You get the wired high-end, high-res quality or the Bluetooth quality. You really can't go wrong with how you use this headphone. There's really a tons of options. I will say that with that high-end audio comes a higher quality audio performance, but that doesn't negate the quality of the wireless performance, and we'll get into that in the sound impressions. You also get ANC modes such as active noise canceling, transparency mode, and then you can also use it with ANC turned off completely. And again, we'll get into this in the sound impressions, but that can affect the sound quality as well. You've also got your EQ settings, which have your bass mode and your hi-fi mode. And then as far as Bluetooth codecs go, it's on Bluetooth 5.2, so you've got your aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, AAC, common codecs that come with 5.2. And then in terms of battery life, you're going to get about 35 hours on a single charge from these headphones. Okay, so getting into the sound impressions of this headphone, this one's really interesting because you can really customize the sound of the headphone based on the different settings that you use, whether you use it wired, etc., etc. So we'll break all that down, and I think the perfect place to start, and our usual place to start, is the bass response. So This is a bass forward headphone. Bass is the star of the show. You're getting a really punchy, a really forward, and a really warm bass response. It's not the fastest bass I've ever heard, but it's really engaging. It's really fun. It's colorful and musical, and I really liked it. Now, let's break down how it sounds with all the modes, because I find that the bass response is really what changes through modes changing. So we'll start with the EQ. In hi-fi mode, you get a little bit more neutral, still bass forward, but again, a more linear sound response. Then with bass mode enabled, you get a even more bass forward response. I found it to be a little overpowering for my tastes, but the real bass heads out there might really like that. Then, interestingly, I found the choice of ANC modes to also impact the quantity of the bass response. So in noise canceling mode, bass definitely feels a little bit more forward, a little bit more powerful, and just more in front of you. But when you turn off noise canceling or put it in transparency mode, it's a little bit more linear, a little bit more detailed, and so it offers kind of the best of both worlds. Now, if you're a noise canceling user, you also might want a more fun bass response. And if you're using your cable and want to put it in no noise canceling mode and you want to really maximize the sound quality, you can do that as well. So there's a lot of options. Now, this would be a really handy place for an app where you can get a more detailed equalizer and you could really hone in on those frequencies and really perfect it. But if you play around with the settings on the headphone, you'll find something that works for you. Overall, though, you're getting this assertive, powerful bass response either way. These are all incremental changes that you can make through the settings. And so I really want to clarify that it's a warm and maybe L-shaped type of sound signature where the bass is elevated and then it's linear throughout the rest of the sound signature. And, you know, I like that more than a V-shaped. I think it's a little more coherent and really unique. You don't hear headphones in this price bracket with that type of approach, and I think that really sets this headphone apart. By getting into the mid-range, you get a little bit of a mid-bass transition that's bloomy and colorful and warm, just like the bass response. And then it goes into that linear mid-range. There's good separation, there's smoothness in the vocals and instruments, but instrument separation is maybe not the priority of the mid-range. Now, I don't think it's actually scooped, but I think that the jump from that high elevated bass response into a more linear rest of the sound signature makes this scooped feeling. And so you're not getting the most detailed approach to the mid-range. What you're getting is a colorful, musical, and enjoyable approach. That said, when you use the cable or you use different settings and you make it more of that hi-fi feel, this headphone can do that as well. It's just you're going to make the sacrifice of probably not using the ANC mode or, there's trade-offs for how you use the settings. So I think this mid-range is really appropriate for somebody who likes a more fun sounding, a more colorful sounding, a more forgiving mid-range that's amplified by the bass response, and that maybe the mid-range isn't the star of the show like oftentimes higher-end headphones are, but it gives room to the bass to be the star. And so that brings us into the top end, which again allows the bass to be the star of the show. It's not doing anything to draw attention away from that low-end performance, but it is bringing the sound signature together. It's got plenty of detail. It allows for better separation. But again, this isn't going to be your detail-oriented headphone. This is a fun headphone. This is an engaging headphone. And I think the treble really reflects that. And I just want to say about the general sound signature that I don't know if there's a headphone that's doing this with this luxury feel with this type of sound signature. And so if you're looking for a bass forward high-end headphone for wireless use that's also flexible for on-the-go use, I can't think of another headphone that sounds like this. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. It's a unique offering, and it's unique within Dali's own product ecosystem. So I think that's really something to consider for those types of audiophiles. And then finally, getting into the soundstage, this is actually a pretty wide sounding headphone, but the imaging isn't quite accurate in terms of localization of sounds. And I think that comes from the weaker separation skills of the headphone. But that said, I don't think you're coming to this headphone for that type of detailed type of sound stage. You're coming, I hate to sound like a broken record, but you're coming for that more fun and engaging sound, more forgiving. And I think the stereo field will be perfectly fine for anybody with that in mind. So all told, with the Dali IO-8, I think at $900, it presents a really unique product. Everything's integrated into the headphone, and so it feels like a really luxury feeling headphone. And I don't know what other headphones are doing such a unique sound signature with that level of luxury in terms of build, in terms of functionality, and then in terms of a warm, engaging, and fun sound signature. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, the Dali IO-8 is a great place to look. And it's especially an interesting way to get into the Dali ecosystem at maybe a more affordable price than the IO-12. So definitely check it out. And yeah, that just about does it for this video on Major Hi-Fi. So again, if you liked what you saw, definitely just like and subscribe down below. It helps us make more videos just like it, and it'll help you get more videos just like it in your feed. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.